Qualls, who has recently resigned from TakeCharge Minnesota, and he's here to give us an update on the next chapter of his life.
Yeah, how's this one? This one better?
Yeah, good.
Okay. I might have to switch out this. Do exactly what Adam did. Hey, you know what? What's astonishing? I won't say astonishing. What is cool to see is that we have speakers that have been up here that are all veterans. So Donna, Colonel Marines. You know, David, Navy veteran. No, I'm sorry, a Vietnam veteran, right?
Army,
yeah, Army and Navy SEAL, and we have Tom back here as well. How neat is that, man? We have people stepping up, wanting to serve this state, serve our country, doing it again in a different uniform, and because you know what? The country needs it, and we all see it. We're in danger. So guys, I wanted to come here and tell you that officially, because this is one of the first groups I met when I got involved in public service. When I ran for election the last cycle, this was the first group I spoke to when I left. When I conceded the race, my wife and I came here and we flew down to Florida and licked our wounds and came back for another fight. And so I want to kind of give you an idea of what's in the horizon. Okay, have you be the first ones to know what I plan on doing, why I'm doing it, how we're going to do it, and how we're going to win. Not say win yet. Okay, how we're going to conclude this. So as you know, I resigned from TakeCharge. I started TakeCharge because a lot of my supporters said, Kendall, we need your voice more than ever to stick around. Your message about America resonated. Obviously, I didn't win. And so we took TakeCharge, and I had no idea how big that was going to go. In fact, what the message was is that the idea and promise of America works. And I went out in the marketplace to prove it. We've gotten so successful doing it. I did two things. I fought back against critical race theory. That was 50% of my time. And it wasn't fighting back against critical race theory. They were fighting against the idea that the promise of America was a lie and that never was true. That's their message. And that this disparity gap, this racial gap, was just the racist, and the country's been racist from the very beginning. And that's a lie. And I went around the state. I got calls. We went out 51 different venues from the Iron Range to Albert Lee, telling them this is not a civil rights movement. It's not even a racial issue. It's a leftist agenda. Okay, to separate and change our country forever it was. And I showed them that the promise of America still works. Because a guy like me, a guy like me can do what anybody can. Okay? And then the other, but the other half of my time, I said, you know, we need to stop playing defense. Stop playing defense. So I went into the Twin Cities in the black community, and I recruited people to help us turn the culture back to where it was before we had help from the government. And what the culture was, it was rooted in three things: faith, family, and education. Today, the black community is worse off today than it was during Martin Luther King's promised speech in Washington, D.C. We were 80% two-parent families, and today we're 80% fatherless homes without one national initiative to reverse the trend. And I told, look, I went into the black community, and I told that message. I got over 50 people, boots on the ground, helping return the community back. If you've been to our platform, you've been to our website, you've seen our videos. It's becoming like a Prager University multimedia site. It's the largest site in the country where you're going to hear black Americans speak positively about the country, denounce critical race theory, and talk about this need to get back to the cultural roots. And it's growing. And we purposely kept it here in Minnesota for 12 months because they have 20 other cities outside the state that want to chat. And we're going to begin to launch this thing outside the state. So we're doing quite well. So I resigned the last week, and what I plan to do in the next 48 hours is to file as a candidate to run for governor of this great state of Minnesota. And I'm going to explain why I'm doing this and why this is so important and passionate to me, because what I've seen over the last 3 years, the 2 years or so that I was campaigning, and this last year traveling the state and finding out what the Democrats are up to, it is frightening. It is frightening. And listen, when I took the oath of office, when I was 19 years old as a second lieutenant, that oath was, I would defend the Constitution against enemies foreign and domestic. I never ever thought that I would have to activate that domestic part, because we have people that want to undermine the very essence of the Constitution. And that's no exaggeration, and I'll explain it to you throughout the campaign once we get started. But let me tell you exactly why I'm getting involved, guys. So, polls revealed, as Mary was saying, that 60% of Americans believe and disapprove of President Biden's job performance, and 50% or more disapprove of Governor Walz's performance. Now, there are 3 reasons why I'm running, okay, and why this is so important. And one of the reasons, the first reason, is why the entire country should care, because I'm going to nationalize this campaign. Minnesota was ground zero where all the riots, looting, and defunding the police initiatives started. And in the center of it all was our Attorney General Keith Ellison, and our weak Governor Kendall Qualls. Because at the end of the day, the buck stopped with him, and he let down the people who he was supposed to serve.
That's right.
Even today, okay, outside of that riots and all that, even today, we've been experiencing record crime. What's happening is horrific. I lived through this as a kid when I was in Harlem. Record homicides, carjackings, robberies. And I used to tell my boys when they were little, when they used to walk their sisters, make sure you walk your sisters to the public bathroom, wait for them coming out, because predators always target women and children, and that's exactly what you're seeing in the Twin Cities. They're doing it now, just like they were doing it then when I was a kid, and we're going to stop that day one when I enter the office, and I'll tell you how we're going to do that. So that's the number one reason why I'm running. The crime is horrific, and we're going to get that changed, and I promise you we'll get that changed in 18 months. We'll get the city back to like the love that we love. The second reason I'm running is Minnesotans have been leaving this state in record numbers. You know, over 13,000 people left last year, highest in 30 years. I talked to one person today in Arizona. They said, I'm here because I have to be, not because I want to be. It is shameful, absolutely shameful. People are elected to serve the people that put them there. Not anyone else, but the people that are supposed to serve. So one of the things they're doing, they're running because, not only the crime, but we're taxing them the heck out of here. And that's what we're going to change that, number one, all right? So here's what we're going to do. And it said, we tax in this state the 4th highest in the country. You combine all the taxes together. Governor Walz, right now, he enforces one of the highest tax burdens in our country, the business community, private citizens, and retirees, even the Social Security benefits. Now, here's what I'm suggesting that we're going to need to do, some bold action. And this is not a slight at my friends that are also running, because I know this is their platform as well. But this is why we need leaders from the private sector, with private sector solution that can lead. And I've been doing that my entire life. And lastly, guys, this is more about culture, attitude, and time to kind of put swagger back in our step as Americans. We're getting tired of being bullied by the radical left, their cancel culture, their constant claims of racism, ramming critical race theory down the throats of parents and students, all at the expense of a solid education. We want to get back to the fundamentals of education so our kids are competitive nationally and internationally. And oh, by the way, here's the reality. Black Americans are better off now than any time in American history. But you would never know that by listening to the media, listening to the academic community, or even the Democratic Party. Let me put this in perspective. My parents and grandparents, who lived in the Jim Crow South, would have loved to have grown up in the America that I grew up in. We're not going to be the generation that lost the America that we love and we know. We're going to be the generation that saved it, restored it, and passed it on to the next generation. That's why I'm running, and that's how we're going to win. All right? I'm going to just close out just a minute, Mary. Here's something that's why it's different. Okay? I have a unique story. My life is a living case study that the American dream and the promise of America is alive and well. Right. And I'm going to use it and ram it down their throats. Yeah. And I tell people this, I'm not exceptional. I live in an exceptional country. I serve an exceptional God. We raised our kids in the Christian faith to be responsible citizens and to serve others less fortunate than themselves. We're going to pass on that concept that we all gotten that from our parents and grandparents and pass it on to the next generation. But here's the thing that I've noticed and why I guess I'm running. I've spoken all over the state. Sheila and I have been to Albert Lee. We've been to the Iron Range. We've been on 16,000 miles since August 1st in our car from unsolicited requests to come and speak. They've been asking for help. Kendall, come and help understand. And little town Worthington, almost on the Iowa border. Here's the thing: these things that have happened have been very sick, and what they're doing. They want to know how we can help, and we've been going, and it's been standing ovation responses. These issues are not racial issues. They're trying to divide us. They're trying to change the very nature of our country, and we're not going to let them get away with it. And so here's the scenario that we're going to see in this campaign, more so than my previous campaign. No more defense. It's all about offense. We're going to do offense all the time. And when we have to play defense, we're going to come out playing offense. And you're going to see that. Now, I know there's other members of candidates that are running, that they have members of their staff here, so I'll say this in just in a kind way. I'm not going to be a jerk, so when I go to my opponent's family's home and I'm not going to try to get their mothers to vote for me instead of their own children. But everybody else in their family is up for grabs. All right. So guys, I'm going to end with this. Okay, I just want to end with this. This is really important. As I wind down, if you love that flag and you love the country for which it stands, you have no greater ally. You have no greater friend than me. I'll love it. And you know what? I'll fight for you. I'll die for you. I love you, and I mean that. If you have an issue with that flag or this country, if you believe it is evil, systemically racist, you have no greater enemy than me. Yes. Lastly, if you're tired of the divisiveness, everything about being about politics, everything being racist, well, you want to be a part of this campaign. But you know what we're going to do? We're bringing fun back in style. Okay? We're bringing sense of humor back in style. And we're going to take cancel culture to the train station. And we're bringing back loving this country, loving America, back in style. Thank you.